Welcome to Ali Goldsmith's Relationship Flow. We are holding in the Intimacy Flow series, a very important part of our Relationship Flow podcast, as we go further into the next level of relationship flow in intimacy. The focus here, and that was much to do with the last flow, focus and connection, will be now extending towards struggles inspired. That it's very important to realize that relationships are supposed to have struggle, are supposed to be a place of growth and development. And like any reality in this world, anything where there's growth or development, building, there's noise. As a good rabbi once told me many years ago. And that's part of the reality of intimacy, relationship, that in order to get to that good state, that flow state, that moment of intimate connection, there has to be a lot of struggle in the process, and sometimes even after the fact as well. Being realistic in that way of understanding that struggle is intrinsic to relationships, then a person could be much more realistic in how they assess how they're doing, that if there is struggle, it actually could be a very good sign. Obviously, we're not talking about like crazy fights or the kind of interactions that will create pain or divisiveness. We're talking about the kind of interaction that actually binds us together, that doesn't cause us to actually dissipate, but brings us closer. That is the constant goal. And relationship goals are very important. That if you keep those goals, as we spoke about last time, in mind, then when you are in a time of struggle, a time of disagreement, the goals are the centerpiece, are the motivation. Like, for example, it doesn't always pay to be right. Often the opposite. The key of the discussion or struggle is to realize that it's not about being right, it's about how to build the relationship, how to make the goals, how to become reality, and how to flow, so that you're not fighting, rather that you're actually coming to a point of agreement or a point of compromise. Because in the end, to understand how contrasting a woman and a man is really important as you go into a relationship. The struggle is there to make shalom, to make peace between very different realities, a man and woman, ish and isha. The idea of that in the Hebrew letters is fire, aish, and we have a yud, a man, and a woman has a hey, and to try to bring those two different aspects of the fire that exists within us, that intense passion or motivation or desire, and to get it towards the yud and the hey joining together, which is unification. That's something which takes a lot of prayer, it takes a lot of dedication and clarity, as we spoke about previously. I do recommend listening to the previous class because I think it's a big key in the struggles. But to also know that ups and downs are very natural and normal. Not something... Excuse me one moment, just a bit of noise, one moment. There's a normal reality that we're meant to go through those struggles. And that's part of every relationship nowadays. What I would suggest, and I'm just moving location because I am in an office where people can come through, I'm actually going to go up onto the roof in Jerusalem, is by constantly learning different relationship advice books or listening to podcasts like this, constantly working on mastering relationships. As we just had a very good class in our Amunah's Our Future podcast and Breslov Israel content. We put up a class from Gedalia Fenster, that over there Gedalia talks about the different elements. The more clarity you have that each personality type is going to be drawn to different characters, realities. Like in the sense, a person can be more upper, more earthy, or more air, or more fire, or more water. The person understands that obviously we contain all the different elements, but a person has an emphasis. And therefore, once we get more clear that it's not something to take personally when there's a moment of dispute or a moment of disagreement, that it's just different ways of viewing life. And this can help with every relationship and especially nowadays with how much divisiveness there is. And one of my goals is to create more unity, to develop more of a connection to the soul level. But to come back to this idea in relationships and intimate relationships, that if a person would realize that when, say, the soulmate or the other half is not in a good state, it's not something to be taken personally. It's not because they're at dispute with you, they're just different. There's a difference of character, there's a difference of expression, and it's not something therefore to be insulted by or angry or upset about. It's meant to be that way. And then the struggle that goes on within a person and within the relationship is actually just giving you ability to make space for someone other than yourself, which is really important to grow in this world, to become a better person, and to have that space is, or hopefully, if it's done correctly, will then lead to that intimacy that we're all striving for, that connection. I think that sometimes life can feel a bit overwhelming to the point where, you know, the struggle feels too much and you just need some good times. So there are opportunities to create positive moments together with that soulmate, to go take them somewhere. That's why a date night is really important once a week or so, or date. My wife and I would go out for a juice together in the sun, or to go somewhere natural, go to a swimming pool together, or somewhere, some sort of holiday, but it doesn't always have to be something giant, like financially or time-wise. It can be more, rather than one-offs, more consistent, and that gives a lot of fuel to the relationship, so that you are not always struggling. It has to be moments of positivity outside of intimacy, where you can just like talk and connect in other ways and have fun, have a sense of humor, because it is, you know, if you listen to certain rabbonim or comedians, and the relationship between man and woman has actually got a lot of humor going on. Obviously not to make fun of the other person, but to make fun of the differences. Like there's a lot to that, and it can release a lot of stress. I do think that like the times off from physical intimacy are very important. We just had in the Parshas, Tazria Matzorah, and now we're right now in Achrei Mos Kedoshim. These are special Parshas that usually come out during these Sfira days. Right now we're at the climax of the third week, Tiferes, about to head into the fourth week. And during this spiritual time that we're counting and finding ourselves in, we have the opportunity to really understand that there's a lot of guidance from the Torah about intimacy and how to connect, when to connect, and to have the right kind of mental state with holiness and respect and reverence to the intimacy. And that can help a lot with the struggle, that when you realize that this is a divine creation, that man and woman come together, it's not just some animalistic or whatever happenstance experience that people, the way the world puts it out there, or just how can I get my needs met, or whatever, that kind of low way of thinking. It's actually a very divine experience, and it can give us a lot of encouragement to know that we are able to manifest, you know, a divine state through intimacy, and take that higher viewpoint that's from the Torah, and in this holy time that we're in right now of Malchus Shabbat Tiferes, that there's a revelation of Tiferes, of beauty, of harmony between different opposites and differences, and that revelation of kingship and queenship, that's that royalty that's created through harmony, is something very divine and very beautiful and uplifting and inspiring. And I think that we all have that ability to appreciate that and to bring that into our relationships. So I pray everyone should be blessed to go through their struggle inspired, to understand that there's a lot of encouragement in the Parshas, in the Torah, in the Sfira, a lot of encouragement in our holy mystical text, a lot of encouragement in the flow that comes between husband and wife and soulmates, so that we can create relationships that struggle inspired, that can overcome the differences and the disagreements, and the contrast and actually come to a better place together. Amen. Please share your relationship flow. I hope this was helpful, and we'll keep going up and up together as we're counting through these special days. And share on yours.